I think chemistry, physics, and biology are more physical based, where you have like physical evidence and stuff like that. Whereas psychology, it's more interpretation based on the psychologist and what he thinks, if that makes sense. Do I think they're scientists, psychologists? When I think of scientists, I think of lab coat, gray hair, glasses, a little psychotic, but I guess in a way they're kind of like a mellow scientist, if that makes sense.
I do think psychologists are scientists, and I have heard of Ivan Pavlov. I don't know what he does.
Well, he did he figured out about the salivation and how it breaks down food, and he also figured out that causal conditioning and how if you train someone with a stimulus and you will condition a response with them.
Did he have something to do with the dog?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
right.
was dogs. It was 2 experiments with the dogs. What do you know about that?
No, I only know there was a dog involved.
I do indeed consider psychologists scientists, considering that they do studies with the brain, so it can also be considered neurology.
I consider psychologists to be scientists because they're trying to figure out how things work in the world.
What defines a science?
Well, science is just the study of life and how, not specifically life, but just how the world works.
I consider science to be the study of how the world works.
So what I define as a science is anything where you have to experiment, you have to study, and you have to analyze things, and that's basically it.
And then how do I compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology? So pretty much psychology is more like a science of the mind and like social, like more social things, and then chemistry, physics, and biology is more like testing things and researching and in labs and stuff.
I do consider psychologists scientists because they're like scientists. I don't know. Something like that. Do I view psychology as a science? Yes, because it's like the study of how the human mind works.
Do you view psychology as a science? Yes, I do, because in its name is the study of the mind, so yes, I do. What would you view as hard and soft science? Hard science, anything with multiple conclusions? Political science would be one. Soft science, culinary, because you don't have to be precise to come out with the results that you want.
So, I do actually consider psychologists scientists because even though their work isn't typically proven and cannot be 100% honest depending on their subjects, I do find it that they are still putting in the time and the effort into the theories for them to be scientists. And then comparing psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology, it is another real science. It's just psychology deals with the mental brain and the emotional aspects of a person, while the other ones are physical things dealing with like actual products that you can hold in your hands, and not things that you can only assume what people are telling you or what they're telling you is the truth.
In your own words, what defines a science?
A science is anything that has to do with life.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why not?
Yes, because it's like the study of the mind and like, I don't know, it's part of life.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
To me, a soft science would be biology, and then a hard science would be chemistry.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry and other sciences? Like how would you compare them to other sciences? Like, are they similar in a way?
I think it's similar because if psychology is like the study of the mind, that's also part of life.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
Yes, because they're studying the mind, right? And scientists also study other stuff.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov and his contributions to science?
No, I haven't.
In your own words, what defines a science?
I think a science is something that has to do with life.
psychology as a science? Why or why not?
I think psychology is a science of like the mind, and yeah.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
I think psychology to me would be a softer science, and like chemistry would be a harder science.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry and other sciences?
I guess they all have to do with life and how things work.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
Psychologists as scientists. Or yeah, scientists of the mind. So.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov and his contributions to science?
I've heard of him, but I forgot what he does or what he contributed to.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay, those are those again. Okay. In your own words, what defines a science?
What defines a science to me is anything that could be proven multiple times based on the research they did and the way they did it.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
Yes, I do view psychology as a science because it's something that can be replicated multiple times and still get the same results.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
What I would view as a hard science would be physics and chemistry. And a soft science would be psychology and astro.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
Psych is actually pretty a little more mellow than less experiments than all the other ones, but it still has its methods of proving certain facts or theories.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
Yes, because they do show or prove points about the way the human mind works and how it behaves.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov, and do you know his contributions to science?
No.
In your own words, what defines a science?
A science is something like a study of life or a study of people, like different things like nature and stuff like that.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
Yeah, I think it is because it's studying people and how they think and how they are and who they are. So it's a science for sure.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
Soft science? Okay, I think a soft science is something that's more of memorizing stuff, and a hard science is more of thinking differently and having to actually conceptualize thinking.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
Okay. Well, I feel like biology is more a study of the cells and on cellular level. Physics is more like the physical world of how things work and how they don't work. Chemistry is just chemicals and the elements. And I think psychology is more how people are and who they are.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
They are scientists. Psychology is a science, therefore they are scientists.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov, and do you know his contributions to science?
I really don't know who that is.
Okay, thank you. In your own words, what defines a science?
Science is everything. It's astronomy, biology, all those hard stuff to learn, yeah.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
Yeah, because they mostly study about the brain and how the brain works and how your thoughts and everything. My sister said it was a science, so yeah.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
Soft science is zoology. Easy science is AP chemistry.
It has to be AP.
Yeah, AP chemistry because it's college, okay? It's harder.
How would you compare?
And it involves math, dude. Okay, continue.
Okay. How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
That's a good question. Okay, so everything else is not as important as psychology, because psychology actually helps people every single day, and everything else is just like stuff like you just learn in school. You don't really learn it outside of school, but psychology you always learn it.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
They're not only a scientist, but they're also like people who help other people.
So like heroes?
They're kind of like heroes. They help the mentally ill, and they're just good people. Like I talked to one of them. They're really nice. So, yeah.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov, and do you know his contributions to psychology?
No, I don't know who that is. And I don't know about nothing about his psychology. Yeah.
In your own words, what defines a science?
A science is defined by like its theories and hypotheses. To me, like it's about learning like the past of it.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
I think psychology is a science because like it has to do with like your mental state and like you know what we bring. Yeah.
In your own opinion, what would you view as a soft science and a hard science?
Soft science would be like learning about trees and stuff like that, like natural science, and then like a hard science like psychology because like you know it's about like your brain and stuff and like learning like everything about it, like every little bit.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
I mean, comparing like they're all essential, you know, to our like future. Like they all come down to bring like you know advancements to us in general.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists?
Yes, because they do bring, just like I said, like it brings advancements to like our future and stuff like that, and then it allows us to like learn more about you know our human being.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov, and do you know his contributions to psychology?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. In your own words, what defines a science? Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
I do view it as a science because you're studying like how the brain works.
In your opinion, what would you view as the soft sciences and the hard sciences?
The soft sciences
and the hard sciences, like easy.
I think the soft sciences is like oceanography because like you're studying like the ocean and like the animals and like I think the hard science would be
how would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
Biology is more like what revolves around you, and psychology is like how a person works or how like the brain functions.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
I do consider them as scientists because, like I said, they study
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov and contributions to science? In your own words, what defines a science?
A science? The study of like, I don't know, something has to do with like mathematical terms and like, going into depth and what the meaning behind that, I guess.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
I believe it is a science because you're studying the brain and how it works and its function and how everything operates.
In your own opinion, what would you view as the soft sciences and the hard sciences?
Soft science would be like maybe more math and like actually having like a answer that's like, if it's not your answer sort of correct sort of thing, like you have a correct answer and incorrect answer, and I think a hard science would like actually have to be where you have to prove that your answer is correct.
How do you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology?
Chemistry, physics are math, sort of, and then biology is more understanding of like our environment, and then but I think psych is more understanding of how we interpret our surroundings.
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or not?
I do, because they're studying again the functions of the brain and how it works and why it works like that.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov? And do you know his contribution to science?
I have not heard of that, actually. I've never heard of it.
Okay, no one has. In your own words, what defines a science?
I think science is like the study of
something
like life.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
Yeah, because studying like your brain and how it works.
In your opinion, what would you view as the soft sciences and hard sciences?
I think biology, zoology, and then anatomy, psychology.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and like other sciences?
Chemistry is kind of like math, and physics and physics.
Like biology?
Biology is about...
Do you consider psychologists as scientists? Why or why not?
Yeah, because they all study math.
And have you heard of Ivan Pavlov and do you know his contributions? So, Alicia, in your own words, what defines a science?
A science is like the study of life.
Do you view psychology as a science? Why or why not?
I do, because you can learn about like the brain and what people are thinking and why they're thinking it.
In your own opinion, what would you view as soft sciences and hard sciences, like hard and easy sciences?
Easy science would probably be like oceanography, zoology, and a hard science would be like physics.
How would you compare psychology to chemistry, physics, and biology? How would you compare psychology to like other sciences like chemistry, physics, and biology?
Oh, well, in psychology you learn about like the body, and like other sciences you learn about the body as well, like biology and stuff.
Do you consider psychologists as sciences? Why or why not?
Yeah, I do consider it as a science. Because like I said before, you learn about the body and the mind.
Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov? Do you know his contributions to science?
I have no idea who he is.
That's rad. Let's go on to the next person.